Every Mike in Mike Scottsville liked Christmas a lot. But there was one tiny problem where someone may not. While they were all enjoying their Christmas roast beast, not everyone everywhere had such a fine feast. The phone was ringing at Central Headquarters shop. Somewhere, someone's water was never ever going to stop. They plugged it with rags, cotton balls too, and even added a didgeridoo. But their efforts were thwarted, no matter their intent. The water kept coming, and coming it went. Their frantic voice told a story of woes. But the operator on the line was a professional pro. She said with a smile, "Don't worry a bit. Mike Scott Plumbing is on the job, and we have toolkits." But what about the large bill that's coming, she'd say? "Ah, we don't charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays." Mike Scott Plumbing wishes you and yours a happy, happy holiday and many, many more.
Ooh, a xylophone. Sounds dreamy.
Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore, Robin. I'm shipping it to the Musical Historical Society.
And you're packing it like that?
What, this won't work?
Why don't you take it to the Personal Service Center at the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street in Ocala? Just look for the yellow signs.
Great idea. That'll save me a lot of time.
The passing of time.
Personal Service Center makes sending packages easy.
And quick, call 789-6683.
For the Personal Service Center.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a male singer and you've ever heard Josh Groban sing, you probably ask yourself, why do I even bother?
Yeah.
Why do I even bother? That guy sings so well, right? I think Bill Ratner is going to do the same thing to all of us speakers on the radio. He is one of the most heard voices, and it says here where you might have heard him is he narrates the movie trailers, a lot of movie trailers. Mm-hmm. But that's not why he's coming on. He's coming on because he's written a book that I'm going to agree with what I think he's saying, and that is that we have to be careful as parents when we buy those video games for our children that show just, what's a good way to say this, reckless abandon or whatever, they're shooting people, right?
Yeah.
We have a friend, he's a former New York City firefighter, and he was called to a scene when he was telling me, and there was a guy in the driver's seat of a car who had just shot himself. Mm-hmm. As horrible as that is, there's a reason for me telling you that. He wasn't dead yet. He was gurgling. He was struggling. He didn't, we see these videos and you see people shooting each other. And it was even worse in our day, like with Bonanza. You shoot them, they're dead, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, dead, no blood, no nothing, right?
Right.
Now they show blood and everything, but they make it, I don't know. They make it just seem like life is just so, what's the thing I want to say? Just life is just
disposable.
So... Thank you. Disposable.
You're welcome.
Now, I could be wrong. Bill Ratner might disagree with me. His book is called Parenting for the Digital Age, The Truth Behind Media's Effect on Children and What to Do About It. First thing I'm going to do is listen to his voice, though. Bill Ratner, good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Larry.
There's the voice.
Yeah, that's it. We're going home.
Does anybody ever recognize you with that voice? Does anybody ever say, oh, my goodness, where do I know your voice from?
Listen, every woman over 55 who heard you introduce me in the same breath as Josh Groban is going to get very excited. I don't have an album out like Josh Groban does. I have a free voiceover demo, but
Nice.
A free voiceover demo.
Nice.
that's
We
a
can
whole
download
different
it.
thing.
But you are to speaking voices as Josh Groban is to singing voices.
Oh, good. I actually saw Josh Groban. He was a student at my daughter's school years ago, and graduated in the musical theater department with what he described from the stage of Disney Hall in Los Angeles last year at a fundraiser as my big-ass voice. I don't speak about myself that way, Larry. I swear I don't. He's a humble guy. He's actually a very nice guy. I don't sing as well as Josh, but if I have to for my supper, I will.
Well, you just need a better song than that. I think that. I think that was the problem there.
I did sing. I did get paid to sing once. They wanted voiceover guys who couldn't sing to sing the Armour Hot Dog summer baseball song. Hot dog.
Oh no!
And this is not an ad. I'm not paid.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. How did this ever happen for you? I mean, I want to get to the serious topic of the book, but how did this happen that you were ending up doing the voices of trailers, movie trailers?
Well, I'm a very lucky kid. My dad was the managing editor of Better Homes and Gardens magazine when I was a little boy in Meredith Publishing in Des Moines, Iowa, and he always took me to work. He worked in the weekends and worked too much, and would take me in, and I get to play with colored pencils in the art department and meet all the people who made the commercials, and from the musicians to the announcers to the on-camera stars. I met Betty Crocker when I was a kid, who was an actress, and I just didn't get it. You're Betty Crocker, but how come you're not on the cake spot? And, I actually started. I had my first paying job when I was 14 as an errand boy for John Forney Advertising in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I've been working ever since. And so I got a bird's eye view of how commercials were made, and became obsessed with all the big voiced guys, and that was me as a kid until I was on G.I. Joe as Flint and became a parent and suddenly realized, wait a minute, my kids are watching way too much TV.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. And
I have a great time at what I do, and I did morning radio like you guys. I didn't talk quite as much. I didn't have as much to say, Larry.
Because you had music, right? You was a music.
We played a lot of Josh Groban.
All right.
I call it easy listening.
Well, fun to chat with you. So let's see. Parenting. You heard what I said. Do you agree with my position, or are you going to take a different position?
Well, what I really loved was a story you guys did a few minutes ago on a 106-year-old lady from Minnesota who was on Facebook. 114.
114.
114.
Yeah.
Wow, that is far out.
Isn't that amazing?
And that she had to cheat and couldn't say she was 106 because the count didn't go up. And that was 90.
Right.
No, I wrote this book, Parenting for the Digital Age, because and I still work full time doing voiceovers. Actually, I played a coach for Verizon on a radio spot the other day.
Nice.
You don't have to force your voice lower. You're fine the way you are.
Right. That's right. I could wear it out then. No, I wrote this book because I saw my kids and their friends using their phones in the dawn of the digital age, and their computers and their instant messaging, it used to be calling, just way too much. And a bunch of us parents did an experiment, folks who traded babysitting in the same neighborhood with kids who were the same age. We said, let's have a Saturday night, 6 to midnight, and let's have a digital-free, device-free. And so we had the kids put their cell phones in my sock drawer and their Game Boys on the shelf, and for 6 hours every Saturday night, they'd get together at our house and the next parent's house and the next parent's house. And the experiment worked. Kids got along. They didn't fight. We had a great time. And it led me to interview other parents about, what do you guys do? You had a kid who was just a wonderful sweetheart, and suddenly they're staring at their digital device, not talking to you anymore.
Yeah.
That's who this book is for. Well, to start the conversation, what do? You get a Christmas present, a new pad, a new iPhone. Do you give it to your kid to shut them up? You can. It'll certainly work, but it'll also addict that child severely to a digital device as a behavior.
Oh gosh, so this goes way beyond the desensitizing of violence with some video games.
Well, yeah, that's certainly part of it as well. Video games are a big deal, and of course they've done studies which you were alluding to, that kids who are on these video games that are with inappropriate titles, that their parents really haven't been careful enough, and spending too much time, regardless of the nature of the title, they become desensitized. If they see violence, they sort of shut down emotionally, which one does in difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. I think the bigger problem, the more common problem, is parents are finding that an iPhone or a smartphone or a smart tablet in the hands of a child will shut them up. And gee, what a quiet Thanksgiving we had.
So that's okay. So that's our fault. I mean, we are being selfish in that regard. Rather than buying a badminton set and going outside in the backyard and playing with it, we're letting the kid look at a phone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are probably saying right now, well, so what? It works. That's great. They can look at something and look whatever they want. This is terrible to compare America's children to rats. Well, though we call them rugrats for a reason. The classic experiment of putting the rat in a cage and giving him a choice of protein or refined sugar. That rat will eat refined sugar until it dies and won't eat the protein. And unfortunately, given the choice of pushing pretty flashing pixels around and watching a documentary on the history of sharks or reading the Babysitter's Club, the child will choose the pushing pixels. And the devices that these kids have in their hands that their parents are handing them are highly addictive. And unless they're taken away at night when the kid can do homework and it's agreed that this is something you can use when you need it and sometimes when you want it if you finish your homework, unless they're handled that way, they can destroy a kid's chances of getting into college just because they're on it all the time, not doing homework, not talking.
Yeah. I wonder about spelling. I wonder about sometimes things that you can just look up in the blink of an eye rather than the old-fashioned way where you would look things up. But I don't know if you absorb it better when you're searching for it in the library or you simply scroll to it on Google. I mean, we look up things real quickly now, and I don't know what the answer to that is. We have some schools right here in our community, and they have done away with textbooks. Their entire a student's entire textbook set, whatever you would say, is on some kind of an iPad.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one thing for us to be nostalgic. I mean, I love books, but I also love my iPad, my iPhone, the whole thing. I really do. It's amazing to me. I'm going to get a big iPhone 6 Plus, and my daughters have iPhones, and they use it, for research when they're in college classes and so on. So I'm not so much a nostalgist or a Luddite. What I worry about, especially with younger children and college-age children, is the addictive qualities of the devices. Steve Jobs, brilliant designer and salesman and billionaire, and the late, great Steve Jobs of Apple Computer, was interviewed soon before he died by a New York Times writer who said to him, doing a profile on Jobs, gee, your house must be an amazing place with all those digital devices for your kids. He had a big family of young kids. And he said, well, quite the opposite. My wife and I banned this stuff. And the writer was really taken aback.
Oh, wow.
Until he spoke with other CEOs who design software and hardware in Silicon Valley. Every single one of them said the same thing, and they were a little embarrassed to talk about it. We don't use digital devices in our houses with children because of the fact that it's highly addictive. And they know it's addictive. They designed it. They designed these things to be addictive.
That is interesting. I mean, how many parents are listening right now saying, "Oh my gosh, I just got that Kindle for kids." Mm-hmm. There's a Kindle for kids. It's marketed that way.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Kindle for kids as long as it's used to read on. As long as and even kids playing games in the airport is okay. It's just a question of how much. How many Snickers bars and Three Musketeers bars?
So that's what your basic message is in moderation?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was in college, the Beatles guru, the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and I was not a devotee, but I was amused, said a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's, I think, what we've all believed as far as diet, as far as intellectual stimulation, as far as television.
Is that what he said?
A little of that. That was his essential message. A little of that. Like the opening of the interview in North Korea. We're not going to open it a lot of places, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Some theaters in Texas, Florida, California. No, Larry, I think my book, Parenting for the Digital Age, goes into the fun history of TV and G.I. Joe and Barbie. It also goes into how parents can talk to their kids. I interviewed a bunch of parents, and so if folks want information, they can email me. They can go on BillRatner.com. The best and most important thing is to buy hundreds of copies of Parenting for the Digital Age.
Do you know what's going to be fun about this interview? I want to tell you this, Bill. Every author, just about, I will ask, in order to be fair to the book and so the listeners know what the book is about, and in the interest of time, could you give us a movie trailer version of the book? Nobody's going to be able to do that better than you.
Coming to a bookstore near you, Parenting for the Digital Age, The Truth, behind media's effect on children and what to do about it. It's fun. It's serious. It's wacky. It's really, really true. Parenting for the digital age. Do I have to pay you guys now? This is really what an opportunity.
No, but you do have to hang on a little bit. We've got to go to the weather, and we'll be right back because I want to be sure, because I feel like we've kind of been intrigued by you and also by your message, but I don't know that we've been fair to the book. So I want to be sure the listeners know what's in the book. It's called Parenting for the Digital Age. Bill Ratner is the author, and you know the voice because you've heard him on all those commercials and movie trailers, etc.
And video games.
And he got up early out in California to be with us on Christmas Eve morning.
And the Family Guy is in that one.
Oh, yeah. He's on everything, yeah. So we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. It'll be mostly cloudy, windy, very warm and humid, with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm today. Any thunderstorm can produce flooding downpours and damaging winds with a high of 80 to 84. There'll be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm early tonight, then mostly cloudy and breezy later tonight with lows in the 50s to near 60. Christmas Day, clouds giving way to some sunshine, cooler and less humid, the high 67 to 71. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Are you wasting hundreds or thousands of dollars on termite retreat fees? If you're not with Turner Pest Control, you probably are. Turner Pest Control offers the industry's only termite and pest control package that never charges retreat fees, ever. You can get started today for only $99. This is a value of $500 or more. This includes treatments, installation of monitoring stations, quarterly pest control, and a lifetime guarantee, all for an unbelievable low $99. Even if you have another pest control provider, visit turnerpest.com to find out how you can avoid paying those high termite retreat fees.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
Hi, Matt Wilkerson here, your mobile Verizon rep. But not just here, I'll deliver the phone to you in your home. While I'm there, I'll only sell you what you need and I'll personalize it to you. Want to have me get you connected? Then call me at 352-528-0020. I even offer unlimited home phone service for just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon rep, at 352-528-0020.
The 5 reasons you should shop at Honey Baked Ham this Christmas.
1. Handcrafted, not mass-produced. No one can resist sweet, crunchy glazed ham.
2. Home-style sides that are as tempting as they are easy.
3. Honey-baked desserts, sweet, yummy, and oh so good.
4. Holiday platters for easy entertaining for family or friends or employees.
5. Gourmet condiments to treat anybody's taste buds.
So why choose anything else? I can't think of a single reason.
Honey Baked Ham, the world's best ham. So get ready to pass your plate.
Happy holidays from Honey Baked Ham.
Located right behind Best Buy, 861-0011.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA.
Hi, this is Robin. May God's happiness, love, and joy be with you and yours this holiday season. Merry Christmas.
Robin, 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. It is Christmas Eve, right? We're having a great conversation across the country. Out in California, Bill Ratner is on the phone, and you know his voice if you didn't know his name, and he has a book. And obviously a very concerned father. Parenting for the Digital Age is the title of his book, The Truth Behind Media's Effect on Children and What to Do About It. Bill, you know what I was thinking during the break? I was trying to be honest with myself, that if I was 16... and I was kind of flirting with a girl on what do they call it, texting or whatever, because they do the texting back and forth, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And somehow it came up that she's willing to send me a picture of herself naked. I'll be honest with you. I'd be sick. Yeah, baby, go ahead and send it. You know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd look for every app conceivable where I could duplicate it, where I could use it as my screensaver. You know, absolutely.
But as a father, it's like, no, don't ever, 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 ever do that.
No.
So it's kind of hard to be critical of a 16-year-old when you know darn well that if you were 16 right now, you'd be doing the same thing.
The problem for me, Larry, is not so much the issue of, and I hope people don't disapprove of this, of the morality of kids doing this. It's the practicality. The problem, I think the reason sexting came to the fore is that girls were taking pictures of themselves and boys were taking pictures of themselves and sending them onto the Internet to each other. And once it's out of your hands,
yes,
you can't control it. And then comes the humiliation and the really sort of nasty and ill-spirited quality that the Internet can bring out in kids and adults.
Oh, yes.
I mean, look at the commenting that's done by fully grown people who would never say the things in a phone conversation or in person that they do on commenting on blogs and on news sites and so on. And kids with sexting, it's the I don't think we understand the nature of the Internet. Obviously, Sony Pictures didn't understand it, or they wouldn't have. They would have made Kim Il-un a fictional character.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. How dopey was it to do that? And by the way, the decision to go ahead and show the movie, when and I love Jimmy Kimmel, but he criticized Sony for chickening out. And I thought, no. You don't. You here's the point you have to see here. When you put that movie out there, since that threat was made. Since there was a threat made, and maybe Korea has nothing to do with it. Some nutcase in your own town is going to say, well, I'm going to go shoot up the theater now because they're showing that movie.
Yeah.
Because I've got Korean background. Or because I empathize with Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is.
Right.
Well, I don't think that any of us really quite get it yet. In the same way that, years and years ago, our grandparents had what they call a party line. Unless you were truly wealthy, the 1%, most everybody had a party line. You shared a telephone line with 3 or 4 of your neighbors.
Right.
Not the phone. You had your own phone.
Right.
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah, we're old enough to remember that. Yeah, just so you know.
But if you picked up the phone to make a call to Grandma, you may hear Molly in the apartment next door talking to her ex-boyfriend.
Good choice of names, by the way.
And so people were careful about what they said on the telephone. These days, we have the illusion of complete privacy and the illusion of permanence and the illusion of security on the Internet. It doesn't exist. It's a series of billions and billions of telephones hooked up and turned on. And that's the problem with teenagers and sexting is not so much that somebody's going to lift their shirt and burn in hell for eternity. What's really going to happen is they're going to lift their shirt. The boyfriend or the guy is going to take that picture and is going to put it up on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and it's going to be there forever as a great embarrassment. And the parents are going to get the wrong idea. And the Internet is not your friend. The Internet can be an incredible resource if you're on the right website. But it can also be a tremendous enemy, as every single of one of the 40,000 employees who are going to get their identity stolen because of the North Koreans.
Yeah.
And everybody, including me, let out a cheer when we saw that probably the CIA and the NSA and who knows, and Target stores got together and decided to bring down the Koreans for a day. But they'll be back.
Who did that? Is that who did that? I don't even know who did that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anything.
Bill, in the book, do you attempt to give advice or some guidance, or are you just basically discussing the issues?
Well, I read a bunch of parenting books in preparation for this, and I thought, am I really qualified to give advice? I don't think so. I'm qualified to say what happened to me as a parent and what we did with our kids. And I was qualified, as a media person like you guys, to interview parents. So I interviewed lots and lots of parents and kids. And they're the ones to listen to in the book. There's a big section on where I interview parents and kids about how they handle the digital age in their homes and how to start the conversation. And I told stories about being on G.I. Joe as Flint and playing Barbies with my daughters and watching children's TV and being in TV studios with my dad. And it's through those stories and through those interviews with families that we learn, This is what we ought to try. Let's use our sock drawer as the major high-tech tool to put the phones in for the nights the kids have homework.
It's a good idea, yeah.
You know, let's use the plugs in the wall in the kitchen to charge the phones and have the kids charge them there so we know where they are. Lots and lots of ideas from all kinds of families in this book as to how you can really take that teenager who used to talk to you and say, hey, guy, this is what we're going to do with the phone. Otherwise, I'm going to cut the phone off.
Yeah.
No, Dad, don't do it. Okay, I'll agree.
Sounds like a really good book. The only thing that would make it better is if you offered an audio book and you're the voice on it.
I have it. Go on Amazon. Go on.
You do?
Go on Barnes and Noble.
Nice.
The audiobook. It took me, Larry. You know, as an audio guy, it took me. Narrating it was a lot of fun. I mean, I wrote it. I knew what I was saying. Narrating. I narrated in my own studio. But I foolishly decided to edit my own book, to edit out every little voice flap, every mouth click. It took me weeks.
I see.
On December 12th, the audiobook debuted on Amazon and Target and Barnes & Noble and Goodreads and everywhere else.
Excellent.
You know, Parenting for the Digital Age.
By the way,
audio version.
I always edit out my mouth clicks, too. I hate that stuff.
I can make myself sound younger by editing out voice flaps. It's like 1/64th of a second, but suddenly I don't sound my age. I sound 5 years younger.
We only have 30 seconds left, Bill. Do you have a website?
I do. BillRatner.com, RATNER. BillRatner.com. Come aboard and look at the funny commercials and look at the bits from Family Guy and Robot Chicken and even Community, where Flint from G.I. Joe comes on.
Oh, man, okay.
And then look at Parenting for the Digital Age and click.
What a fun interview. You know, we were talking the other day about our favorite interviews of the year. I mean, you're close to the end of the year, but I think you're one of my favorite interviews of the year. Thank you, Bill. That was fun.
This is Ocala Live with Larry and Robin in the morning.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Shortness of breath has landed President Bush 41 in the hospital as a precaution.
He has been slowed down by a variety of very serious health problems lately. Last year, he was hospitalized for 2 months because of a bad bout with bronchitis.
Fox's Peter Ducey, Mr. Bush is 90. Overnight in Berkeley, Missouri, near Ferguson, police shot and killed an 18-year-old black man who, cops say, pointed a gun at an officer who then fired his own weapon. Ignoring the mayor's plea to cease demonstrating out of respect for the families of 2 murdered cops, more than 1,000 angry protesters shut down New York's Fifth Avenue.